Good afternoon to the members of the media, my caucus colleagues, my cabinet colleagues, and the people of Bermuda. During the election period, the Progressive Labor Party spoke of the need to address poor educational outcomes, the lack of opportunities for many on our island, and the structural racism that exists within our society. We did not speak of these items merely to pay lip service, but because they are the root causes of violence and antisocial behavior and do not exist in isolation. Sadly, the many incidences of violence in the last few weeks have reminded us of the importance of addressing these problems. We must work together to provide a safe community for all who live in Bermuda. We have serious challenges that must be dealt with as a matter of urgency. While the need for strong law enforcement is evident, it cannot be the only angle by which we confront our issues. Long-term solutions are needed, and this government will focus on the root causes of violence and ongoing gang activity that we are facing. Without the provision of a quality education, fair and equal opportunities, and the possibilities of earning a decent living wage, we will continue to experience the issues that we have today. Confronting these items will form the foundation of our long-term and sustainable approach. The solutions to these problems demand a cohesive approach in education, in our homes and families, in the business communities, by our churches, and in every institution playing a part of Bermudian life. While there is no overnight solution, please be assured that this government will work tirelessly to provide protection of all residents. It is through assisting our most vulnerable that we can ensure the health of our society. Your government cabinet and backbenchers are united in our desire to ensure that our communities are safe, our young men and women are provided with opportunities to make better choices for a more positive future. The Minister of National Security, Wayne Caines, is leading the efforts on the issues of violence and antisocial behavior, and he will now provide an update on the government's work to date and the progress to come on this issue. Minister Caines.
Thank you, Premier. Thank you to my colleagues for their attendance at this press conference this afternoon. Good afternoon to the members of the press corps. In a few short weeks since after the general election, we have seen evidence of the importance of continuing our work to provide a safe community to all who live and work in Bermuda. Violence and antisocial behavior must be addressed. Strong enforcement is a part of the solution, but we must also address the root causes of violence and ongoing gang activities. Solutions to these problems demand a cohesive approach in education, in our homes and in our families, by our churches, and in every institution playing a part in Bermudian life. The impact of poor educational outcomes and income inequality must now form the foundation of our understanding and drive to work to find solutions. In the short time since my appointment as the Minister of National Security, I have taken the opportunity to listen and to understand what systems and processes exist to deal with the varied effects of violence in our community. It is clear that from 2009, when we saw an increase in gun violence, both administrations have sought to combat the gang lifestyle. Much of what has been done in those years remains in place, but with any system under stress, it needs to be refreshed and to be refocused. That is what we promised to do, and that is what we've already set about doing. In our platform, we undertook to provide a singular focus for implementing programs to reduce gang violence and antisocial behavior. We promised to ensure opportunities for young people looking for a pathway out of gangs, including assistance with resuming educational pursuits or skills training. And most importantly, we recognize the importance of equipping parents, teachers, community leaders with training in identifying at-risk young people. We look to seek help from our parents, teachers, and community leaders when identifying at-risk young people and intervening and preventing them from being caught up in the cycle of gang violence. The former administration improved funding for overseas recruitment of police officers, as well as recruitment for Bermudian recruits. The efforts are in hand. I have met with the Commissioner of Police to confirm my support for the increase of the Bermuda Police Service establishment. We rely on the police to provide strong enforcement that is required to meet violence and gang activity. Their strategy calls for targeting and enforcement, community engagement and empowerment, all supported by community advisory groups. I endorse the strategy, and whilst operational matters are that of the police commissioner, I am determined to add this ministry's leadership in galvanizing the community as we all play our part. Our work in this area has already begun. We have formed a structure around the program development, project management, case management, emergency response to incidents. This structure will include a violence reduction coordinator as promised as a part of our first 100-day platform. My aim is to issue a community call to action. Understand that our national economic success will not yield a return if we cannot enjoy that success in safety. Again, our national economic success will yield no return if we cannot enjoy that success in safety. Violence in this community is founded in systematic inequality, and the solution will be found in an all-in community approach. In the coming weeks, our ministry will be organizing a structured approach to outreach to members of the clergy and other members of the faith community. These men and women are this community's moral voices, and it is our intention to expand the reach of these ministries and the authority to empower the congregations and the community that they serve on to help us stem this multi-generational trauma and the violence that it causes. Education and employment will be at the forefront of our efforts. With the support of my colleague, the Minister of Education, we will ensure the earliest possible intervention and provisions of services to students at risk. We must address at-risk young people at primary and middle school. Parents must confront these issues and support our teachers. The help is available, and it is our task to make sure that parents and teachers know how to access the services they require. Employment and the ability to earn a living wage remains at the heart of the solution to the historic inequality that has bred the violence that we now see manifested in gang activity. As we set about building an economy that works for everyone, I will be meeting with a broad cross-section of employers to urge them to provide opportunities for men and women whose skills match their employee needs, and where they may not, to commit to providing opportunities through training. Where the people are willing to work, we must do everything that we can to help them earn a living wage that mitigates the alternative choice of illegal activity. The former Interagency Gang Task Force will be reactivated. It will meet regularly to share information and to serve as one of the key entities in providing support to the efforts of the police, and those community partners are already engaged in supporting the families affected by trauma and violence and gang activity. The Premier and my Cabinet colleagues have expressed their full support for these initiatives, and as a government, we know every ministry, every department, every authority, every Quango will be vital in helping make a Bermuda that is safer for all. Although this is the early days in this administration, the tone has been set for how critical the tackle of violence is in this community. We risk losing a whole generation if we fail. Thank you. Questions, please, sir.
Minister Caines, in the Progressive Labour Party platform, it indicated that a gang violence reduction coordinator would be appointed in the first 100 days. Has that person been appointed, and if not, how long before we see that person being appointed?
The person has been identified. As you know, we are in a system with structures. We have to adhere to a number of different policies. We're working it through, and we should be able to make an announcement in the not-too-distant future.
Much of what you said this morning, we've heard a lot of before. Parents have to be involved, churches, schools, but the problem persists. What is the real concrete approach that you're going to be taking to this? It's a very good question. And so your question in a nutshell is, we've heard this all before.
The thing that we're going to do differently this time, we're going to invite the community to take a significant part of this. We have never looked at this as a systemic problem. We've always looked at this in isolation or in a vacuum. We are saying that there is a direct correlation between being disenfranchised, not seeing the opportunities, and not being a part of it. We want to look at this from a position of bringing people in and giving them the opportunity through training to legitimate opportunities to bring.
Turn off the phone before I did.
As you can see, we have, through a number of different mediums, we are inviting members of our community to be involved. We have something, Gary, that's going to be called the 100 Peacemakers. We want to train Bermudans from all across this island to be a part of helping us fix this problem. What is different, you asked? We are going to, as a community, look at the root causes and invite the community to help us be a part of the fix.
Colonel Birch, in a previous incarnation, had suggested that perhaps the time had come to hold parents accountable and take them before the courts, if need be, for their children's actions. Is that an option that's being considered again?
Let's be clear. We are looking at this from a holistic standpoint, where there is time for us to be hard as it relates to law. You have seen that we have indicated that we will make the necessary amendments to the specific laws. You have seen that we will be strong with the policing and supporting the police officers. But let's be clear. We do not believe that this is going to be done with handcuffs and by hauling people before the courts. We must have a holistic approach. We must make training available when training is available. We're our parents, and that's why we're using a multi-disciplined approach. We have people in the social services that will be getting to the root, to the genesis of these causes and making recommendations so we can look at what's going on in the family structure and then give them an opportunity to be healed, to be made whole, to allow them to find their opportunity, to find their place in the society. Gary, for too long, we have seen the economic benefit going to a select few. And what we are seeing the manifestations of a country that has not put the right systems in place. We now must understand that and put systems in places to help everyone get back on track.
Reverend Leroy Dean runs the cartel organization, and he had in the past approached government with a slew of different initiatives for addressing this issue. He's, of course, a member of the Progressive Labour Party. Is he being brought in as part of this initiative?
What we're saying, we're considering a number of people. Reverend Bean, as you have said, he is a giant in this field. We have this experience. We have been in conversations for him to be a part of it. It will be improper at this stage to go any further.
Any other members of the media wishing to have any questions?
Now, of course, one key component of these gangs and people trying to get money from these gangs is through cannabis. Is there any plans to address cannabis legalization?
There is no evidence that what you are saying is correct, that these gangs are being fueled by cannabis, sir.
I mean, financially, not in any other way.
We believe, and to coin a phrase, there are three elements: respect, revenge, and revenue. And what we have to do is, firstly, we have identified that we have a problem. And so I, sir, do not want to put this or pigeonhole this into one particular problem. I'll go back to the genesis of what we said. We're using a multi-discipline approach. For us to pinpoint any specific element, it is to narrow our focus. We have an interdisciplinary approach, and we're going to be looking at this from a multi-pronged segment of fixing the problem, sir.
And so that would not be part of discussion of cannabis?
Sir, it will not be.
So that would not be part of it?
So let me be clear, and I apologize if I'm not being clear. We believe that a part of gang activity centers around illegal activity. The police officers in this community are charged with intelligence, investigating, arresting, and doing the same. I am also saying that at the same point, we have to look at the reasons why people are selling drugs. And in the past, we have not addressed that. And I am saying to take one in isolation is to do what we're trying to do a disservice, because it is literally putting a Band-Aid over cancer.
Any other members of the media? Brian, one second, Gary. Brian. All right, Gary.
Can I ask another?
Please do, sir.
The Police Complaints Authority had launched an investigation into the events of December 2nd. We yet to hear anything or any final outcome. Are we included in seeing that?
We should have the report in the public domain by the close of business on Friday of this week.
Can you give us some insight as to what it entails?
I cannot, sir.
Members of the media,
Hold on one second.
Premier has some closing remarks.
I would like to thank the Minister for National Security, and as members can see, he was so hoarse from celebrating that wonderful performance on the field by the Somerset Cricket Club that he's here to address you today. But thank you very much, members, and we'll be, of course, here afterwards if any individual members of the media wish to speak. Thank you.